Sweet 16.
Sweet 16.
Earlier,
Story
maybe?
of our lives, if only.
Yeah, I was really stretching there for that Biff and Back to the Future reference, wasn't I?
You fell out of the chair.
I am only drinking the fruits of the spirit.
Brimstone and hellfire.
We bucked that tradition.
That tradition. Does that not go through your mind?
What do you do in a prom without dancing? It took a hot moment for me to figure it out.
This is awkward. I'm going to go ahead and take off. Your grandparents can dance like there's no tomorrow. But Jesus is like, you're on vacation.
And there is a time to dance. I would smell myself until I got used to the smell.
Smell yourself until you got... What? Say that again.
Yeah, that one was weird, but I would... You can tell what someone had for lunch. And it's 8 hours after lunch.
I can only imagine, like, it's like a Cybertruck. It makes me want to go, huh?
That is now one of our things.
Maybe we are a little vain. We do think that song's about us.
It was a fabulous date night.
Yeah. Like, whoa.
Daughter? Girlfriend?
Question mark?
Question mark?
It's like a 7-layer bean guacamole dip of stress.
Yeah.
And we thought 7 was the max.
We thought.
And we're being totally judgmental here, but this is fun. Appetizers, that's French for food before your entree.
Ooh, wow.
Police sting soliciting a prostitute. Oh, he bought her.
He bought her for the night.
His arm just went around her.
Like, who? Nobody would have believed that I actually knew where the bathroom was.
Young and in love, and now we're old and in love.
Old and in love.
We've been there. We've done that.
Yes.
Or,
if you looked straight ahead, even if you stared into my eyes, you're hooked.
and I needed to know,
Yeah.
gross, nasty, old guy.
Sadly.
Or am I not kidding? I don't know.
I don't know.
Come on, if we're all being honest, that's how everybody is. I mean, give me a break.
I do think that most people would have been doing exactly what you and I were doing. And that's why people like people watching. We are nothing if not flexible.
Are we though? Oh, that's the word I'm looking for there.
Anal?
Only gives you what you can handle.
Right.
I feel like I'm there.
I'm not a good juggler. The metaphorical juggling of adulthood.
Hey. Ooh, that's pretty close.
It's pretty darn close.
Yeah.
Swimming upstream or, I don't know.
Where do I buy a 25-year-old?
We've gotten way wrong. I got one word. That's a very long pause.
Yeah. Oh, that won't be a highlight. I probably should take that one out.
Welcome to the Mr. and Mrs. Inglis Podcast. I'm Megan.
And I'm Shaen. We're here to talk about the wild ride of raising kids, growing careers, keeping life together in the middle of all the chaos.
So buckle up, because we're all in this crazy journey together.
This will be episode 16. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, hon.
Welcome. We're
Cheers.
Sweet 16. It's Sweet 16.
Sweet 16.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. That would have been, it's a little after the fact of when that would have been good for March Madness. But.
Right. Man, if only we had started, a couple weeks earlier. 4 weeks earlier, maybe?
Story of our lives, if only.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. Oh, well.
Mm-hmm.
It could, honestly, I wasn't thinking about that when we first started this. About, we could line up our 16th episode with a Sweet 16.
That would have been killer. That would have been killer.
Gosh, although if I can look that far ahead, maybe I should
about
buy lottery
viral?
tickets. Yeah. I could be like Biff in Back to the Future and because I would have been able to see the future. And
That's right. All for the 16th, lining up with the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
Missed it by a month or so.
Yeah. I was really stretching there for that Biff and Back to the Future reference, wasn't I?
Well, I saw where you're going with it, and it's good. And everybody appreciates a little nostalgia. So, speaking of nostalgia, we went with a little bit of sippers again on this show.
We did, because it's a weekend. We're actually recording on a weekend this time.
Yeah. Well, I drank so much last time that I didn't even finish the show. So I think that's why our viewership was up like 1,000-fold. I fell out of the chair because I was imbibing too much.
No, not quite. Although,
I'm just kidding. I didn't even finish I
No.
didn't even finish it.
No, your apple juice?
My apple juice, that's right.
Or
My
your
oddly colored.
oddly colored Chardonnay? Is that what we thought it might be?
No, I don't know. You're always drinking cabs. So.
Yep, that's usually my go-to. Actually, technically, this is a Malbec. This
Oh,
time.
that one is really?
Mhm.
Okay.
I happen to have grabbed a Malbec
Okay.
last time I opened a bottle.
That's good. Well, you had mentioned we're actually shooting on a weekend,
Mm-hmm.
which hasn't happened in a while just because our weekends have been wild.
Yes.
Wild weekends.
Wild weekends. This one was a little more tame.
Yeah. No soccer games.
No soccer, but it is a holiday weekend.
And it's a holiday weekend.
So,
Yep.
I mean, that does help bring down some of the agenda items.
Mm-hmm. We already been to church
Yes,
because this is Easter weekend.
Easter weekend. So,
So just got back from church.
yeah. I don't know how that's going to go over. You know, like, hey, we just got back from church and now we're drinking. At least we didn't do it before church, but.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again,
Jesus drank wine.
Jesus drank wine. That's right. He turned water into wine.
Into wine.
So,
I mean, I am only drinking the fruits of the Spirit.
but I did grow up. That's right. The fruits
thought
of the
that was a
Spirit.
really
That was
good play on
one.
words.
That was. That's why I went back to it. I don't want to miss when you have those good ones.
They're so rare. I'm not that witty.
No, you are. Yours are good ones when they come along. But I was going to say when I grew up, because my grandfather was a Baptist preacher.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody knows anything about Baptists and there's different denominations and whatnot, and the Baptists down here were known for just being very strict,
Mm-hmm.
right? The Southern Baptist was very strict,
Right.
right? That was hellstone and
Oh, yeah.
brimstone and hellfire, preaching behind the pulpit every Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's not what my grandfather was. He wasn't. He was a Baptist. But I bring it all up because they didn't believe in drinking, though.
Right.
Right. So I grew up. In fact, I remember some family weddings that they didn't have. They did not have alcohol at
Mm-hmm.
because of my grandparents, and
Yeah.
just out of respect for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess us being us, we broke that.
We bucked that tradition.
We bucked that tradition, and we did some on your side too. That your parents were. We tried to be, because you grew up Catholic.
Catholic.
I grew up. I guess my grandfather was Baptist, but we went to a Presbyterian church, which I don't know what was different about that one or whatnot. Now we're non-denominational,
Right.
but definitely we bucked some trends.
Yeah.
And I think we kind of tore off the Band-Aid for some other people because following us, there were some things that went down, from those kind of things that other siblings benefited from, I think.
Yeah. It was it was, again, growing up Catholic, wine isn't, a big drinking is totally okay in
Yeah.
Catholicism. So there was no ban on that in our house.
Yeah. So let me ask you the one question about that. And I always thinking about it when we go there, and I'm a germaphobe. I think it's been established on this
Mhm.
show. But the few times I've been to the Catholic Church with you and your family, whenever, and everybody, partakes of the cup,
Yeah, the communion
the
cup.
communion cup. And everybody in the church drinks out of the same cup. Now, I know he's got a little thing that
They
he kind of
wipe it.
wipes it
Yeah,
off,
they wipe
but
it
still,
after every one. But
your lips in it. I mean, it's not like there's not germs being deposited in that. And when there's a few hundred people drinking out of the cup, I mean, does that not go through your mind?
so
Is that why you're not Catholic anymore?
And I did not. I never, aside from my first communion, where I think you have to drink it as part of it. I never drank the wine. So.
Oh, you have a choice not to.
Oh yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I always skipped it, because I always did kind of think it was kind of gross.
So you're not looked down upon for doing that?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
Mm-mm.
No.
No.
That's good.
So, yeah, I never drank it, but I don't know. It's probably changed since COVID. Please tell me it's changed since COVID. Like, now that we know how germs are spread, I feel
Are we
like
sure? I mean, that was like 2 or 3 years ago.
I tend to forget. But yes, I haven't been to a Catholic church since then, but
Yeah. Well,
there's hope that we've changed some of those sanitary.
The Catholic Church has come a long way in the last couple decades and
It has.
changing and
Yeah.
and whatnot. So, but we'll turn the page on that one.
Yeah.
But I was just laughing because when you're talking about drinking, I mean, like that was a bit of a no-no in my family. I mean, my grandparents didn't drink. Not that they judged anybody, because we did. I mean, like I think growing up, we talked about this once or twice before. You know, there was some like Coors Light or something like that in ours, and you guys drank. But I do remember though my grandparents hearing stories of them. You know, because they had a Christian school.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, so it was K through 12th grade, little Christian school, and like I went to their prom one year, and they couldn't dance at the prom.
What do you do in a prom without dancing?
I don't know. I ended up leaving early because of a whole nother story.
Oh, I've never heard this story, and I would love to actually unpack this at some point because I've never heard this story.
At some point. Well, there was a girl that you knew that her and I kind of always had like a little crush on each other at that church for a long time, but she was always dating another guy, and there was another guy that also played basketball. You know, there 1A, I was I think 5A or something like that, and so there's, for whatever reason, there was like a competition there, but she was dating him, but her and I kind of had crushes on each other from afar because we had kind of stopped going to that church. But when I went there, it was always like, oh, we're making eye contact. So they had broken up at one point in time, junior year maybe, senior year, I don't remember what year, but I ended up going to prom with her. I picked her up, took her there, and I remember he was there, and he and I knew each other because we would play basketball against each other on like Sunday nights. We'd have like pickup games after church there. So I would go to church there on Sunday nights because they had Sunday morning church and Sunday evening church.
Got it. And then did your whole family go on like that Saturday night thing or Sunday night thing?
No. This was maybe that was later. Now I'm getting it confused because it was later. Maybe it was during high school because I could drive.
Yeah.
But I would go there. My family didn't go, but I think we had stopped going to church at that point in time. We were going to the Presbyterian church. But because there was a pickup basketball game there, because there was a full gymnasium there because there was a school. So there would be, 12 to 15 guys that would stay after and we'd play basketball, right? And he was one of the people that would stay. And he was good, don't get me wrong. He was good. You know the guy I'm talking about.
Okay.
And he and I eventually became friends along the way. He's a good guy. And he ended up marrying this girl, obviously.
Really?
Yeah. You know who I'm talking about, don't you?
Now I do.
I think you do.
Yeah. It took a moment.
Anyways, I was
for me to figure it out.
We went to prom, and I could just tell like the dynamics there was like, you know what, you guys are like meant to be.
Yeah.
This is awkward. I'm gonna go ahead and take off.
Yeah.
And I left like halfway through prom because it was like, it's all good. I know she's probably, I don't need to be stuck in the middle of a love triangle.
Like, I really don't want to be at the point of this love triangle.
At a prom, in a gymnasium, where you can't dance.
At your grandfather's church, and you can't dance.
At my grandfather's church, yes.
That is a very
so awkward. Yeah.
There's a whole lot of awkwardness.
There's somewhere I went that night, too, and I don't remember where it was. I don't know if I went to play basketball somewhere else or something. I mean, like, that was heavy, basketball era, Shaen. Yeah. So, anyways, that was all off of. So they couldn't drink, they couldn't dance. But I remember there were as my grandparents got older, they went on cruises, and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, your grandparents can dance like there's no tomorrow. Like they can do all the dancing. They go on these cruises, and Jesus is like, you're on vacation. You do whatever you want to do. Like they're dancing away. They're like, oh, they're just such great dancers, and they're drinking like like these little like fruity drinks, whatever they may have been,
Pina colada,
but somehow they kind of excused it away. Like, oh, there's nothing in that. There's no alcohol in that.
Yeah.
Sure, Grandma. Sure, Papa.
Yeah. Well, and according to Kevin Bacon in Footloose, the Bible does say, and there is a time to dance. So,
Yeah.
Apparently those rules applied on the cruise.
Yeah. So, sorry, that was a big tangent there on our drinking, but we're drinking again. Not That's drinking, right. We're just having little sippers.
We're just having a couple sips.
Yeah, I don't mean to make a big plot out of it.
Right. I mean, hey, it's a weekend.
Yeah. Weekend after a week of soccer.
Yes.
That we took. This was a big tournament.
Huge.
And we talked about that last week, but because of that, they actually had games during school, so they got excused for school. So we were in and out of school.
Yeah. So and then in and out of work too.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how other parents did it because we had to take. now my boss was like, you don't have to take PTO if you're just going to a soccer game. And it's like, well, no. It's not just a soccer game, because you have to be there early. You have to drive 45 minutes. You have to, so like really this is almost a 4-hour thing. And I was like, so I just took some PTO in the afternoon, and it was just, part of it was because I didn't want to be bothered either by work.
Yeah.
Because I was like, no, if I'm on PTO,
I'm going to ignore my phone.
I'm going to ignore my phone, and I would encourage my team, everyone, to ignore their phone if they're truly on PTO. So I did it for my own peace of mind, but
yeah,
I don't know how. I mean, there were just so many barbecues, and like they were taking a team to Six Flags, and it was just like, a whole big thing.
Yeah, one of our teams was over and beyond because they were hosting.
Yeah.
There's a handful of families hosted by 10 kids.
Yeah.
Maybe 12 kids total, but they each had like 2.
Yeah.
And it was a whole process of like, you're taking care of them sun up to sundown.
Yeah.
And after sundown.
Actually, yeah, because they stay in your house.
24 hours. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're
fully
doing
responsible.
Six Flags some days. They're taking them to, again, Walmart came up again as like, wow, it's incredible. Yeah, I was talking to somebody on Friday. We scrimmaged the team on Friday. And one of the host parents, they're like, well, what do you want? They went to Walmart again. And the kids are like, there's so much variety. Like, there's a wall of deodorant. They're just blowing their mind.
It's like, yes, you get to pick what you get to smell like here.
Yeah, interesting.
Do you want coconut? Do you want lavender? Do you want shea butter? I don't know, but you get the option.
Yeah. And then, I was trying to think of like all the funny, like, brute ones that, Axe, they have all the funny manly sounding.
Oh,
sounding
yeah.
ones, I'm sure.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I've used the same deodorant since I was in 9th grade.
Me too.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. I mean, can you imagine what would happen if they stopped making that deodorant?
I would smell myself until I got used to the smell. Like if I had to change deodorants.
You would smell yourself until you got, what? Say that again.
Yeah, that one was weird, but I would.
I just didn't understand it. And now that I'm replaying it, it was weird.
It was really weird. It was almost as bad as the earlier strange phrase that we had, but no. So if I were to change deodorants, I'd be able to smell my own deodorant on me.
Oh, yeah.
For, like,
You'd be smelling
weeks.
the new scent.
I'd be smelling the new scent. Yeah, not
Because you don't smell your deodorant now because you're so used to
I'm
it.
so used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that happens with anything. Shampoo. I have just that wicked nose that smells anything. But shampoo, soap, deodorant, toothpaste, anything like that, if I change it, I can smell it on me.
Yeah.
For weeks.
You had a good story this week of a person that was like, I think her husband was like, oh, she smells everything too. And again, we're not trying to be one-uppers here, not at all. This is Meghan smells everything. Everything.
It is a curse.
So you may think you have a strong, and we're not trying to be the best at everything. That's not it.
It's actually
But
the worst.
I challenge somebody, if they think their spouse or they themselves has a strong nose, to challenge you on it. Because someone said their spouse had a strong nose, and then this week you had this encounter.
I had this encounter. She was sitting about the distance that we're sitting, and she had put sunscreen on. It wasn't a spray. It was just
For those of listening, we're about 3 feet apart.
Yeah, there you go. It was just like a cream sunscreen, and she sat down 3 feet away from me, and I was like, oh, that's Neutrogena sunscreen, isn't it? She's like, how did you know? I was like, well, it smells like Neutrogena sunscreen.
Yeah.
I could not get the smell of Neutrogena sunscreen out of my nose. I came home, and what did I smell? I was like, I needed to smell something, almost like coffee or something, to like clear the scent out of my nose.
Yeah.
Almost 3 hours later.
Yeah, and she wasn't spraying it on herself right there. She couldn't read the bottle.
No. No, she actually went away in order to apply the sunscreen.
Oh, so she came back and you could just smell it on her.
I could just smell it on her. And I smelled it on her then the whole game.
Yeah. Well, that changed it a little bit because, I mean, yeah, that's a strong one. But what's the one I use for our spray?
Oh, the Hawaiian Tropic.
I mean, if it was Hawaiian Tropic, everybody would know what that
Everybody would know that, and I would know.
I guess Neutrogena is a little bit out there, but cause those are small. Those have a strong smell to them.
Yeah.
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 So
Anyway.
I guess my point was that wasn't the best. I didn't. Now that I hear the story again, it wasn't the best example of it.
But, sorry.
But she was like, I can't believe you can smell that.
Smell that, yeah.
And you were like, well, yeah, I smell everything.
I smell
I
everything.
can tell you what you had for lunch.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It's never a good thing when you can tell what someone had for lunch. And it's 8 hours after lunch.
can only imagine, like, that smell is creeping up through your esophagus from your digestive system in your stomach, and that's what you're smelling.
I don't know. Part of it is like certain things, garlic or whatever, it does come through your pores.
It's like a Cybertruck. It makes me want to go, huh?
I know. Yes, that is now a thing. That is now one of our things. We see a Cybertruck and we all pretend to throw up.
Ugliest car ever. We may have already talked about it, but we
I don't
do.
know if we did, but
Every time I see one now, I try to be as, what is not bombastically, what is it? Theatrically,
Oh,
like
yeah, you are
pretend to
very
throw up.
theatrical.
Well, I'm trying to make eye contact with the driver of it so they can see me. Like, your car is literally making me want to throw up, and I don't do stuff like that ever.
no.
But that truck is so bad, and now it's.
Yeah.
If you listen to people that talk about that truck, it's like they're like, "Thank you for buying that truck," because now I know where all the jerks are. You know, now I know where all a certain kind of people are.
I know.
They're in the Cybertruck, so it's like raising a flag.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But it is the ugliest
The
vehicle.
ugliest car.
It's worse than, because we had a top like 2 or 3 for sure.
Oh yeah.
PT Cruiser.
PT Cruiser. Mm-hmm.
What was the car that was in Breaking Bad? He had like one of the second ones. It's like an Azteca or something like that.
Oh, I don't remember what the car name was, but yeah, it was pretty
Do you
bad.
remember the car in Breaking Bad though? Yeah, that was probably one of the worst cars. Is there another one on that list that's just so bad?
There's a Scion, I think. What's the one that's like a box? It's usually like a box on wheels.
Cube. It's like a cube.
Cube. Yeah, it looks like a cube. I don't know the name
Yeah,
of it.
those
but
are
that one's pretty
ugly.
bad.
Yeah, but I drive that any day before I drive a Tesla or the Tesla
The Cybertruck.
Cybertruck
Yeah, for sure.
or a PT Cruiser. Because there's 2 versions. There's like the Chrysler PT Cruiser, and then there's like a wannabe.
We remember when we rented a car and all they had left was that what we called the PT wannabe. It wasn't truly like the brand name PT Cruiser. It just looked like a PT Cruiser.
Yeah.
And we were leaving, I think at church, and there were some people near us. We didn't know them. And we're like, let's just keep walking. We don't want people to know that this one's our car.
Did we get the car? We ended up taking it?
Yeah, we had to. There wasn't anything else. Like, we couldn't rent any other car. That was the only car they had left on the lot, at the rental lot.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that.
Yeah, we were leaving a Christmas church service, and we're like, just keep walking.
We walked by the car so people didn't see us get in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe we are a little vain.
We are pretty vain.
We do think that song's about us.
Yeah. Yes, the song is about us. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, we took a little time. So the kids played great. Just to sum up the whole thing, the kids played great. Nobody got out of the first round, unfortunately. In fact, the team that our oldest played, they made it to the finals.
Yeah.
And our oldest son, and this is nothing against him, it just happens. Soccer is hard to score. When you get those opportunities, you got to try to make them. If you can't, that's okay. Professionals miss those same ones, but he had 2 that he wishes he had back.
Yes.
And we would have beat the team.
Yep.
We tied them.
We ended up tying, yeah.
But they ended up winning our bracket
Bracket.
based on points, and they made it to the finals.
Yeah.
We were on TV, watched them last night. They ended up losing. They got second place, but I mean, pretty cool to get second place in this, which is a fairly prestigious tournament. So, and then my youngest sons, they lost in points too. So, anyways, to celebrate, we were done with that week and just the 3 weeks that we've had, which has been tough. Everybody's heard. We've just had so many domino after domino. We decided to have a date night last night.
Yes, and it was a fabulous date night. We had to do some Easter prep, but then we're like, kind of our thing is just a nice dinner. Usually steakhouse and just sit there, chat.
Yeah.
But
our date nights always come when like we don't make it out shopping very often. Often. Usually we'll Amazon something to the house, Prime it, whatever it is. We'll do that. But we don't ever make it out to like a Target or to an actual shopping area. So generally speaking, we'll have 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 months saved up of like, gosh, we have to actually physically go somewhere and get something.
Yes.
Right. And last night was kind of one of those nights we had to hit Target up and then we had to hit another store up. But generally we'll do that every date night. We'll shop for the first like 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
And then we'll hit up well, Mi Cocina is usually where we go. We'll get like some guacamole.
We always get like a little appetizer, like
Yeah.
a Mi Cocina, have a, I
Chips and
use
dip.
chips and dip, and
Nice drinks.
yeah, because then we'll go shopping.
Sitting on the patio.
Oh,
It's the
it's
best.
the
It's just it's relax for just a moment.
Yep.
Down in South Lake Town Square because it's just, people watching. And it's usually nice weather.
Yeah, like it, even on the patios, because in Texas, like they do try to cool the patios in the middle of the summer, and they heat the patios in the middle of the winter. So it's usually just a really, really nice experience. And then it's like that's kind of the decompression part, and then we go shopping a little bit, and then we usually finish off with a really nice meal, like at a usually steakhouse.
Yeah. So we tried the new steakhouse last night that they just built.
Yeah.
We've been to it before, but
Yeah,
Capitol Grill.
yeah.
It's a national chain that's last time I think Denver maybe was the last time we ate there.
I had never been to one. I know you had.
Oh, you've never been to one?
I had been to one, but I didn't eat there. When
I went to that restaurant. I didn't eat.
So, I was early 20s. I always went out on Friday afternoons. I went out for lunch with my friend when I was working downtown Minneapolis. Every Friday, we had lunch together. And we're like, hey, let's try the Capitol Grill. There's a Capitol Grill downtown Minneapolis. And we walked in and we saw the menu. And no joke, at the time, it was like duck eggs were one of the appetizers. And, as a 22, 23-year-old, we're both like, I don't know that I would want, I don't even know like what that is or what you do to eat with it. But anyway, and then we saw the pricing. And it was a little rich for a 22, 23-year-old.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah.
I walked in, walked out. That was the only time I had ever been to a Capitol Grill.
So you guys literally went into it and then walked out?
Yeah, we actually had been seated and everything.
You had been seated.
Uh-huh.
That is a whole different level of we're giving up on this.
I was like,
White flag.
First of all, I don't know that I liked anything on the menu for like a Friday afternoon lunch.
Duck
It was
eggs,
for
right.
duck eggs. And I was like, it's kind of expensive. Like, I didn't really want to spend $100 on a lunch.
They didn't have duck eggs last night, though.
They did not have duck eggs.
That's no longer on the menu.
It was not. I did look.
That's hilarious.
I know. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Anyway, so we went
Yeah.
last night. No.
Something did happen that is the reason we're bringing this up.
It was just, I'll let you do it. It was,
Well, you can tell them what you saw first because you were watching me.
okay, yeah, so I'm watching your face, and you make the craziest face, and I was like, what in the world is going on? I'm facing a wall, and you're facing kind of out.
I think there's an eyebrow followed by one eyebrow going up by big eyes.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, what?
That was what I heard.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? What's going on? And I hear this, daughter? Girlfriend? What?
Question mark?
Question mark? Oh, boy. Well, it was not his daughter. You quickly found out.
But this overtook, and we were having some big discussion because of all these things that have just been, we just had so much, we're in that era where it's like, we were just talking about it today, it's like stress, where we've maxed out stress 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, apparently we didn't max
didn't
out
max
stress.
out.
We're just going to put more on.
Yeah.
And more. It's just like a layer cake
Keeps
of,
going.
it's like a 7-layer bean guacamole dip of stress that is now up to like a 21 layer.
Yeah.
And we thought 7 was the max.
We thought, yeah.
So we were trying to make it through some of this
Yeah.
at dinner time.
Just talk through it and whatever.
Right.
And now we are distracted.
So this guy walks in. Yeah, your back was to them. I was facing them. Because you and I are in a booth, but we're sitting on opposite sides.
Yes.
Well, he walks in.
Like this guy.
This guy who I originally thought he was maybe 55. And he walks in with, again, like Megan said, daughter at first. But then they both sit on the same side of the booth,
Yes.
which is directly behind you.
Yeah.
So you're sitting back to back with
back.
them.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see the back of their heads. And then I'm like, maybe not daughter, because I don't think I'd sit on the same side as the booth as my daughter. In fact, I'm not even sitting on the same side of the booth as my wife.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So 55 and daughter is 25 maybe is my thought.
Probably the oldest. I did get a good look at some point.
Yeah.
25
So
might be pushing it.
so we're listening, but fast forward to the point. Tell him like we're like, in my mind, I'm like, there's at least 30 years between them, and we're being totally judgmental here, but this is fun.
It was the conversation. Like you would ask me a question, I'm like, hold on, I'm listening.
Oh yeah, we lost out on our conversation because we were listening to theirs. Like, one of the questions he asked her.
So how many states have you been to?
So people, how many times, husbands and wives out there, how often do you say, how many states have you been to? I mean, it was creepily just so first date, like generic. And she was, after I heard her speak a couple times, there's no way she was older than 25.
No.
She was probably younger.
Well, they kept talking about school and classes. So.
Well, I've been New Mexico, Nevada. I mean, when she starts trailing off the, vowels.
He was explaining the menu to her.
Which I do to you all the time, so I don't know. I mean, these are the entrees. Entrees are your main dish.
I was like, oh gosh, like.
Appetizers. That's French for food before your entree.
Yeah. Teaching her about the different, cooks of steak. I mean, it was like, and then they kept talking about school. At some point, she did reference an her ex-boyfriend.
My ex-boyfriend.
I mean, the conversations coming out of this, and we were just getting like bits, like, and it was just, ooh, wow.
So let me just.
But at one point, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
At one point, though, there was like a full-on makeout session, right?
Oh yeah, we're going to get there. But let me just lay the groundwork here a little bit more, because hopefully you guys listen through the end, because usually first 15 minutes we're just getting the soap, right? But by the time we get to the 25th, 30th minute into this, like we're getting lathered up. You know what I mean? Like we're getting into the good stuff here.
Yeah.
But to lay the groundwork for this restaurant is walking distance within 1 minute from a hotel that's down in South Lake Town Square that we are acquainted with only because the fact that our youngest son, who had a coach who we loved and was great with him, because he was able to work our youngest through some emotional issues, but he wasn't able to finish his tenure as the head coach of our youngest soccer team because he was caught in a police sting soliciting a prostitute at this hotel.
Yep.
So there's a very charged, if you will, area here, right? Like we're within walking distance of this. We see this guy walk in and it's like, oh, that's not a daughter. That's Megs is like, oh, he bought her.
He bought her for the night.
So we're like, oh, they're going back to that hotel because that hotel's known. This was in our mind. Well, that was on the news. It was on the internet. It was a big thing. There was like 40 guys caught in a sting. 40 men. I wouldn't call them gentlemen, maybe, but 40 grown men caught in that sting for soliciting prostitutes at this hotel.
This particular hotel. Mm-hmm.
Right in the smack dab of South Lake Town Square.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway, so that's laying a little bit of the groundwork of where we're coming from on this.
So that's the backdrop.
That's the backdrop on it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to have a conversation, and then I'm halfway through, Megan saying something, like, Shaen, don't jump off the bridge, and I'm like, for those of you not watching, I would start mimicking kind of what's happening to let her know, because we can't talk because they're literally right behind us.
Right.
So I'm like, his arm just went around her. He just put his arm around her. Like they're so close on this, 6-foot bench. He just scooted over. Like your plates, oval plates would have to be turned sideways to touching because they were sitting almost hip to hip at this point, probably. And then they start making out.
Like who?
Right in the middle of Capitol Grill. This guy's, after you saw him, you thought he was 60, easy.
I did, yeah. He had some work done, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, he was not. Well, and he even referenced at some point in time his son who was in a college fraternity. So, like, he was old enough to have a 20-year-old son.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, I guess you could be 40 and have a 20-year-old son, but I don't think that's the case.
Let's caveat here. We're not being judgmental. We're just passing along entertainment for our age.
This is just entertainment. It was entertaining for us. Like, I mean, it was a very unique date night. We usually don't find these characters like on a regular date night.
I mean, I'm sure if we were looking for them, but it was just right in our face. You know what I mean? I mean, there's a lot of money in that area, and who knows what's happening in that area. But it was just, it overtook our date night a little bit because it was constantly like, what did they say?
Yeah.
What did she say? Did she just say that?
It was...
Try not to hear it, you know. And then you made up the whole thing to be, I'm like, pretend to go to the bathroom. Because we knew the bathroom was behind us to the left. Mm-hmm. And I was like, no. Pretend to go to the bathroom that way, like you went the wrong way.
So I did. And so then I could, like, assess the situation a little bit. And I pinned her about the same age that you did. And then,
But let's not skip over your acting skills.
Oh, I actually went all the way to the front to, like, ask the hostess, like, where's the bathroom? Even though I knew where it was. So that,
which, by the way, is way off stage. I mean, I can't see her. They can't see you. So, I mean, like, your dedication to your method acting was impressive.
Impressive.
I'm going to call Steven Spielberg on this one just to say, like,
It was
method actor.
Nobody would have believed that I actually knew where the bathroom was. No one would have.
Because you come back around the corner with the
hostess.
A hostess, is that who it was?
Yeah.
And perfectly, like we had planned it, right in front of their table. She's like, "It is just around that corner to your right."
Yeah, because it gave me like a pause right there, so
Right
I could get another couple seconds of assessment in there. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It was interesting.
So you thought maybe just over 60 with a little bit of work, and she was probably under 25.
Yeah. That was my assessment. Yeah. And, everybody, at least I hope, like, there is always a time for those makeout sessions when, like, this just isn't the type of place for that. I mean.
Well, we brought that up. I even said it. I was like, there was a time in our lives when we were together where it was like, young and in love, and now we're old and in love. Young and in love, and you're like, PDA and making out, at the bar. We've been there. We've done that.
Yes.
But that was a few years ago.
It was. And it was at spots where we probably weren't the only ones, that because it was probably filled with people our own age and,
Yeah, we were mid-20s, late 20s.
Yeah, and like that's a super fun phase of life.
Yeah.
Embrace it.
Right.
Right. But
or to quote you from last week, maybe I missed an opportunity. Maybe I should have slipped over to your side of the booth.
Maybe, and we could have had a makeout session.
Just kind of, just that little, stretch. Oh, my arm's around you now. How about that?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Caress my hair.
Oh, yeah, he cupped her head, like all the way down her. I mean, it was creepy. It was creepy. And I'm trying not to be judgy about it.
And it's hard not to feel like a voyeur when you're like, but you could not have not looked at them. If you looked straight ahead, even if you stared into my eyes, your peripheral vision still would have seen them.
Well, it's just because I saw them walk in, and the question popped in immediately. And so then I was intrigued. It was like they hooked me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was hooked.
You were hooked.
And I needed to know.
Yeah.
Inquiring minds wanted to know. But it was interesting because you and I started talking about it. It was like, people know, I mean, men say it all the time on TV or whatever, that you hear the joke, whatever, that's like, I keep getting older, but the women I'm attracted to stay the same age.
Right.
The old creepy man saying,
Yeah.
But, there's probably truth in that. Men still stay attracted to women, I mean, of a certain look. And that's usually a younger woman.
Yeah.
So it was funny. And then I asked you, I was like, well, how's that? Do women feel that same way too? Like, are you still attracted to that young 22-year-old guy?
And mine was like, not really. I mean, like, yes and no. I mean, if he looks good on a movie screen or whatever, but like in an actual situation, like, no, I don't think many women of my age anyway would, like, feel comfortable in that situation.
Yeah. Maybe he did buy her because it's like, I don't know. Anyways, we spent like 20 minutes on that. We went way into that. So interesting. Oh, I mean, it was It was, I guess it wasn't crazy. It happens all the time.
It
but it was
happens all
just,
the time.
it made our date night interesting because we've never had that
We've never
experience.
had that.
It was just in our face.
It was, yes, and it definitely made it a unique date night.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it was super fun. I mean, it was really good to just laugh and be like, because it did lighten the mood on, it's been really a heavy few weeks and all of that. I mean, because we could just be like, oh my gosh, can you believe this?
Yeah.
So it lightened the mood a little bit.
It always feels good to make fun of somebody else.
Sadly.
Just kidding. Or am I not kidding? I don't know.
I don't know.
Come on, if we're all being honest, that's how everybody is. I mean, give me a break.
I do think that most people would have been doing exactly what you and I were doing and being like, oh my gosh, you're never going to believe what I'm seeing.
Anybody listening to this podcast has to agree, if you're being honest with yourself, if you go sit in any mall, any public place, you could sit there and just have a heyday of just enjoying people watching.
That's why people like people watching.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people's.
Yeah, that's okay. We like people watching, so it's okay.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. Anyways.
Takes all kinds to make the world go round.
It does. It does.
But anyway, what do we have coming up this week?
What do we have coming up? Well, Easter's tomorrow.
Easter. So, yeah, we'll have a little egg hunt.
We have
Easter Bunny needs to get busy.
We have the classic parents' Easter Bunny evening.
Yep.
So we'll be late making sure the Easter Bunny takes care of their stuff.
Yeah. I mean, he has to be ready. But we might have to film at a different time next week because one of us is out of town all weekend next weekend.
Oh, we have a soccer tournament next weekend in Austin. Oh, no, it's a showcase. That's right.
Showcase. But yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so.
Well, we're getting good at that now. We're figuring that out.
Yeah.
Because we only had like 2 or 3 days in between these shoots.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because of our.
Yeah. Hey, we are nothing if not flexible.
Are we, though? I would not say we're flexible as a family.
Okay, we're not. Maybe not. It doesn't mean that we're comfortable. It just means that we have to be. I don't know.
It's like reactive. I don't know what we are.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know.
Flexible is not one that we are. I mean, we're pretty. What's the word I'm looking for there?
Anal?
Inflexible?
Yeah, inflexible. I don't know.
Yeah, next week is a normal week though. Next weekend we're out of town, but I think regular work week, kids are in school.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we're really looking for, the tide to turn a little bit on some stress alleviation.
Yeah. Just honestly, like I said, like just normalcy, getting back to normalcy.
Yeah.
And not just, bombshell after bombshell. Like, okay, now we're going to have to deal with this and clean up that one. And so.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean.
I don't know.
There's all those sayings out there, right?
Yeah.
Only gives you what you can handle.
Right.
I feel like I'm there.
I really feel like I can't handle anymore. I don't want to. I'm not a good juggler. We used to have juggling in PE. I don't know why. It doesn't seem to be like a PE kind of a thing. But anyway, I do remember being in elementary school and doing like juggling. I was terrible.
Doesn't.
Yeah, it was terrible. So I think that just translated into, the metaphorical juggling of adulthood.
I wish that was a moment that you would have just been like, so incredibly, I'm a very good juggler. That would have been hilarious.
I never made it past the scarves.
Another one of those, what?
We've been together for over 20 years. I think if that was one of my talents, you would have realized.
Oh, you would have been using that. I mean, like, so impressive.
No, I never juggled anything other than scarves.
Hey. Oh. I imagine that's what jugglers do when they're getting the attention from juggling.
From juggling? I don't have hand-eye coordination. You kidding me? It's terrible.
Well, all right. Well, that was a big sorry about that.
Yeah.
We're pretty good about not the ums. But the new closing, should we do it again? Try it again?
Yeah.
We're going to summarize, what did we summarize? This last
week. Yeah.
In a single word.
In a single word.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm trying to think. Let me give me 1 second. Everybody else think along, but you're week 2. I only gave you like 1 second last time.
Yeah.
Because right now I've got a 2-word summary. I got to figure out a word that summarizes 2 words now.
I got 1 word. That's a very long pause. I was like, oh my gosh, did you actually like pause yourself?
Yeah, I know. It felt like a pause.
Yeah, that was really good. You didn't even blink.
Yeah, we'll cut that out. Don't worry.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, you actually did PP, people
Yep.
patience,
People patience.
last week. So maybe the rule is not just a single word.
No, yeah.
So we'll extend it to 2 words right for now.
Right.
And maybe a paragraph next week. But
Yeah.
okay, are you ready?
Well, and I already know it's not going to be the same word because mine's only one.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Okay.
All right. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Surviving.
Pile on. Well, that's pretty close.
It's pretty darn close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10 of similarities,
Oh, yeah.
survival was yours
Yeah.
and piling on was mine.
Yeah.
So really it's talking about, that's where we're at. Things are just piling on. And you're like, we just got to survive.
We're just surviving. Yeah. So how
need-
close would you say we are? What
need to
scale of 1
overcome.
to 10?
Well, the words are not similar.
No.
But the theme
Yeah.
is right on. That's a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, we'll work on that, people. Maybe next week it'll be a little bit less.
Maybe we'll move from like, piling on and surviving to like swimming upstream or, I don't know.
Where do I buy a 25-year-old for a night?
We've gotten way wrong. We went the wrong direction.
Yeah. Oh, that won't be a highlight. I probably should take that one out because that doesn't apply to me. It applies to that guy. That was kind of a throwback to our. We spent 25 minutes on. We are so long right now. We gotta go.
We gotta go. All right.
Hey,
Until next time.
we're gonna go. Love you, hon.
All right. Love you.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.